Welcome to r/IDontWorkHereLady. We've got backyard trespassers, a fake firing, and a basket-snatching Karen. Let's get into it.
I'm not your B&B. You just climbed into my backyard. My neighbors are Airbnb-ing out their home while they're in Europe. It's been a pretty problem-free experience. Until today. Residential, not retail. Yesterday, I was studying at home. At midday, I saw a car pull up in front of my neighbor's house. A couple exited and immediately went up to the front door to knock. As time passed and no one answered, they started exploring the property, presumably searching for someone. Unfortunately for them, no one was home. This is where things started to get interesting. The man, growing increasingly agitated, decided the sensible thing to do in this situation was to climb over a fence into my neighbor's backyard. As I watched, perplexed by his decision-making, I saw him wandering around, knocking on, and then trying to forcibly open the back door. It was a rather amusing sight. That is, until he gave up and decided the next thing he'd like to do is climb the fence from my neighbor's backyard into mine. Oh no. At the moment, our landlord is building an extension to the house, and immediately I'm worried that this man might accidentally injure himself on the construction site. I rush out to speak to him. What I'm met with is an out-of-breath, red-faced man and a woman whose face looks like a smacked butt rapidly descending down my driveway towards me. Knowing a little about my neighbor's arrangement, I initially tried to help them. "Hi, are you guests at neighbor's Airbnb? Check-in isn't until 3 p.m. I don't think you'll find anyone there at the moment." The lady, now upon me, was unhappy after hearing this. "You need to let us into the house." I'm taken aback. "I'm sorry, I'm not your Airbnb host. I just live next door. You should get in touch with neighbor as they'll be able to help." Ignoring the perfectly rational advice I have given them, the lady starts turning a deep shade of red, her partner silently glaring at me, his face beginning to contort with anger. "They told us we could check in at 10 a.m. You should really contact your host. As I've said, I'm just the neighbor." This only seemed to anger the couple more, and the lady immediately started shouting at me, "You need to let us in or I am calling the police." Wow. At this point, I'm getting pretty annoyed. I tried to explain the situation to her again, but only got so far as, "I can't let you in," before she cut me off. "Let us in or give us our money back." Now, in her increasing anger, coherent sentences started to break down, which in hindsight was pretty funny to watch. It became a series of, "You told us 10 a.m., give me back my money," and more threats to call the police, who would apparently get them a refund. I've never seen someone get so belligerently mad in such a short amount of time. At this stage, I'm done with being polite. "Lady, I am not your Airbnb host. You," gesturing to the man, "climbed over the fence into my backyard, which is why I'm out here speaking to you. You both need to leave and contact your host. I know that their check-in isn't until 3 p.m. Being forceful at least interrupted her tirade, but she was still mad. As I watched her, I could see her slowly starting to process the situation. Despite this, she wouldn't apologize or admit she was wrong. Instead, what she blurted out next was, "Can we at least store our luggage with you then?" What? She repeats herself, this time much louder, apparently still under the delusion that yelling is the way to get what she wants. "Nope, you're not leaving anything with me." After a further brief exchange, they left, and I immediately let my neighbors know what happened. Now, here's the justice thrill to the story. My neighbors were annoyed. Really annoyed. They tried to contact their guests, but they wouldn't answer their phones. Eventually, they let Airbnb know what happened. Airbnb tried to reach out to them too. Again, the guests were uncontactable. During our exchange, the man let me know his name. Let's call him Bob the Jerk. As it turns out, the booking was made under a completely different name. Both my neighbors and Airbnb tried to verify who was staying, but Bob wasn't responding to their calls or messages. Eventually, Airbnb decided to cancel Bob's booking. I wrote a note letting Bob know he needed to check his Airbnb messages and that his booking had been canceled due to the situation this morning. At 3 p.m., the car returned, this time filled with 4 more people. Apparently, Bob the jerk was trying to sneak in a few extra unpaid guests. I watched the quiet resignation on their faces as they read the note. It felt good. As an aside, my neighbor managed to rebook the dates with a lovely Chilean couple, and Airbnb honored the payout for the insane couple's canceled booking. My neighbors insisted on giving me a portion of the payout for my trouble, but honestly, knowing that these horrible people were inconvenienced was enough.
Wow. I swear, some people treat I Don't Work Here like a challenge. Imagine climbing into your neighbor's backyard and then yelling at their neighbor to let you in. And the whole I'm calling the police bit? I'd pay to see that conversation. Hey, this is Bob the jerk. Yeah, I'm currently trying to force my way into my Airbnb and harassing the next door neighbor. Do me a favor and come pick me up. Great, thanks. The luggage request took me out. Like, ma'am, you just trespassed into my yard and now you want me to babysit your suitcase? That's not confidence, that's delusion in high heels. And Bob trying to sneak in 4 more unpaid guests? Peak entitlement. I love how Airbnb and the neighbors just shut it all down, and he had to stand there reading that note with a full car of disappointed freeloaders. But hey, if you thought climbing fences was wild, wait until you hear what happened to the guy who just wore the wrong outfit at Target.
I don't give a damn about your kid. I made the mistake of wearing khakis and a red shirt into Target once. I got asked so many questions, but just laughed it off. One lady, though. I was looking at makeup, and this lady with her small child came running up to me. She asked where the bathrooms were, and I told her I had no idea. She went from 1 to 100 and started screaming her child was about to have an accident, so I better get on my radio and figure it the heck out. I said, I don't work here. And frankly, I don't give a darn about your kid. She went stomping off, so I went to grab groceries. As I'm wheeling up to pay, the lady taps on my shoulder and says gleefully, "Remember me? You're getting fired." I look over to the manager, who looks at me and says, "I don't recognize you. Do you work here?" When I said no, he looked really exhausted and said, "I'm sorry, ma'am. Enjoy your day." The crazy lady was still insisting he fire me as I was leaving. Poor guy. I've never made that fashion mistake again.
Yeah, better safe than sorry. I don't even own a red shirt, but after hearing this, I'm making sure I never wear one into Target. Honestly, I might start carrying a neon sign that says, "Not an employee," just to avoid attracting any Karens in the wild. And seriously, while she's busy staging her fake firing scene, what exactly happened to this urgent bathroom emergency? Did the kid magically develop superhuman bladder control? Or are we just politely skipping over the aftermath? I do feel for that poor manager, though. You could hear his soul leave his body when he realized he had to deal with this situation. It's wild how some people will burn 10 minutes arguing instead of spending 30 seconds finding a solution. But if you think that's peak Karen energy, just wait until you hear about the woman who thought a shopping basket was proof of employment.
Lady thought my basket meant I worked there. So this happened yesterday. I'm at Target just minding my own business with one of those little red shopping baskets. Out of nowhere, this lady storms up and starts demanding I show her where the curtain rods are. I'm like, sorry, I don't work here. She immediately gets annoyed and goes, "Then why are you carrying that basket?" I try to explain it's literally my basket with my stuff in it, but she's not having it. She legit snatched it from me, looked inside, and then says, "That's just store merchandise. Employees carry baskets around all the time." At this point, I'm kind of laughing, but also annoyed. I tell her again, I don't work here, even pointed at my hoodie and jeans, not even close to their uniform lol. But she doubled down like, if you don't want to help customers, maybe you shouldn't be working here at all. Finally, an actual employee walks over and she yells at him that I'm being lazy and refusing to help. The dude just looks at me, looks at her, and deadpan says, "Ma'am, he doesn't even work here." The look on her face was priceless. She shoved the basket back into my hands like I'd ruined her whole day and stormed off. Honestly, funniest thing that's happened to me in a while.
Okay, at this point, I'm convinced Target is like a magnet for Karens. Story 2 had one, Story 3 has another. I'm starting to think there's a secret Karen convention happening in the seasonal aisle. I mean, snatching a stranger's basket and then doubling down like, nope, this is mine now, you work here. That's not shopping, that's Olympic-level gaslighting. And the best part? The actual employee shows up, takes one look, and shuts her down in 5 words flat. That is the kind of customer service training they should put on a poster. So here's my question for you. If multiple Karens at Target isn't a record, what's the wildest Karen encounter you've ever had? Tell me in the comments. I need to know how far this Target curse goes. That's it for today's wild ride through r/IDontWorkHereLady, where uniforms mean nothing and confidence is delusion. If that gave you secondhand embarrassment or a good laugh, give it a big thumbs up. Drop your favorite I don't work here moment in the comments. I want to hear your stories too. And if you're not subscribed yet, you know what to do. Hit that button, ring the bell, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully not getting yelled at in a Target parking lot. Bye.